said earlier, much hasn't really changed. What I want to say here is technologies will come and go. That's been the history. And technologies have definitely shaped the warfare, the way we fight. And this process will continue. But technologies, when applied in isolation, without a doctrine in place, invariably fail. So, all the people sitting here, the veterans and the serving officers, if you think that mere technologies can win you a war, I personally think they cannot. What you need to begin with is a doctrine, and then you've got to understand what are the technologies that are going to help you fight with the doctrine, and then you've got to shape the environment to accept those technologies, get those technologies, and then that makes you ready for war, that makes you ready to take on operations that you want to face wherever in the world. It could be your borders, it could be beyond our borders. So the point really I want to make, in my opinion, is you need a doctrine first and technologies later. Before I hand over back to the moderator, Rajesh, I think in this particular case, the Russian army did not have a clear military aim, and they are still floundering. And so you're talking a lot about technology, but I think man cannot be outdone. Not today, not in the future. With that, I hand over to the moderator.
So, firstly, a little observation on what you said. Unfortunately, Russia didn't go in for an airline operation. On 24th of February, they went in for a very, very nascent, special military operation where you saw tankmen coming out and, raising their hands and people standing in front of tanks. I wish they would have gone, if not, I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong word. If they would have gone the airline way like what the Yanks did in Basra, or for that matter, even the Russians did in Grozny, flatten the place and then enter, the future of war was different. So possibly, your second issue regarding the failure of military, I feel it was not a failure of a military operation. It was a politico-military blunder. It was a politico-military blunder. Just about 60 to 76 at best battalion tactical groups entering a country so huge, the second largest country, and then trying to change a regime. I think it was too much of a tall order. I feel maybe a politico-military miscalculation, but definitely not a military blunder because the military reached where it had to.
I believe even the soldiers who really went in, most of them were quite unaware as to what they were doing. They had been on exercises in Belarus. They thought this is an extension of the exercise itself. And in fact, some soldiers came to realize that it is war only when they were fired upon. And obviously, most of them started surrendering in large numbers.
So that may not be totally true, you're entering another country. But yes, definitely, there was a lot of preparation to war before that. We participated, in fact, we had Indian troops there in Zapat. Zapat in Russian means West. We participated in the West exercise. But the fact that the soldiers didn't know they are entering another, that may be a little, it's more of a propaganda. But definitely, what AK sir mentioned is, militarily, little more clarity would have been better. I feel. But such an operation has never been planned, ever. And thinking that, the Ukrainians are our own and we can't kill and we can't do, collaterals and all, I think that was a very tall task.
But just coming back to niche technologies, I'll go back to Saurabh. Saurabh, key technologies which are coming in, they are actually working on increasing speed, range, destructive power, etc. of the conventional weapons, which were quite unimaginable so far. The speeds achieved or the precision achieved were unimaginable so far. But knowing the growth of technology, I'm quite sure there is some X factor which is missing. A technological X factor which is not seen in this battle and will remain a secret till the chips are really down. What would you like to say on that?
Absolutely. I will talk of that. It's very difficult to predict how technology will finally shape the battlefield. It may lead to a more destructive, powerful forces, or it may lead to a more efficient force where that amount of destruction in the physical domain may not at all be possible. I'll elaborate on why I say that. But before that, I think regarding what Sir Lakshmi said, sir, I think I can agree more. You have to have a doctrines and structural changes in place for any technology to have its impact, and that is one of the reasons I personally am skeptical about it. A lot has been made about the Ukrainian innovative use of technology and the spectacular success that they have. But when we look at them closely, most of them have been at the tactical level and have been exploited for psychological means more. The real impact of this technology will be seen in a future war when they have got enmeshed into the tactics, techniques and procedures, and then they will have a real effect. Getting back to what General Harbhajan has just asked me, sir, well, the US Department of Defense is on record as having said that there will be more machines than humans in the US Armed Forces by the year 2025. It's on record, sir. It's a published document which says this. Of course, all of these are not going to be killer machines. A lot of them are going to be performing logistic functions. A lot of them are going to be in the ISR or the ISTAR domain, and so on and so forth. But it's a very important fact for us to note, and where the US military generally goes, the rest follow. There are certain trends which point us in the direction in which technology is taking us. The first is the evolving concept of autonomy. In the Ukrainian war, we've seen drones, we've seen autonomous machines, but we've still not seen full autonomy. The human has still been in the loop. The decision to kill has always been remotely controlled by human. With the Switchblade 300 and 600 also, there has always been a human who's taken the decision to kill. Going ahead, there is a danger as it has happened, because this is only an ethical concern as we understand. If the stakes are high enough, and if in that entire OODA loop, the human is the one which is slowing you down the most, somebody may be tempted to take the human out of the loop if the machine is going to be more efficient and it's going to give you added advantage. As we speak, the US has a ghost fleet relentlessly patrolling the high seas. Sea Hunter, a 132 feet fully armed frigate, sailed from the west coast to Hawaii and back, undertook anti-submarine operations with not a single human soul on board. 56 Chinese boats undertook intervention and capture of a pirate vessel, and so on. The other thing that we may be surprised with is you spoke about precision, sir. What may actually happen is that as we go from third industrial revolution technologies towards the fourth industrial revolution technology, we may actually see a reshift of doctrine back from precision to swarms or mass. Because as I said, a missile causing $5 or $6 million versus a couple of $100 worth of drones with which you can saturate the airspace and overwhelm the air defense of the enemy, and many of them would do their functions, and a large number of them would return to you and be reusable. It's a debate which is ongoing. We have really not seen the use of swarms so far, but it is something, it's a concept which is maturing. We will get to see in a war sooner or later. There are many other factors such as directed energy weapons, laser guns, electromagnetic rail guns, hypersonic projectiles, and super soldiers. And this is something that we need to accept. It is not science fiction any longer. The Chinese and the Americans have super soldiers, genetically augmented human beings, walk this earth today. Ethical concerns prevent them from being openly exploited for other purposes. In Ukraine, we've had some interesting technologies. A quick couple of words on a few of them. So Starlink has already been spoken about. This is the private constellation, of course, of Elon Musk. One of the heroes for the Ukrainians has to be Mikhail Fedorov, their Minister for Digital Transformation, who on Twitter requested Elon Musk to oblige and has left Starlink in place in Ukraine and has not charged them much for it. It has ensured that communications have not gone out in spite of the best of Russian efforts. Artificial intelligence, two quick examples. The first is of a commercially available artificial intelligence technology called Primer, which the Ukrainians have bought off the shelf and utilized for monitoring radio chatter from those thousands and lakhs of radio intercepts daily. With Primer, they have been able to glean relevant data, leading to some great tactical successes. Another very interesting use of AI, of facial recognition, which is now coming in, called Clearview AI. They have not spared the dead. They use Clearview AI to actually use facial recognition on the dead, link it to their social media accounts, identify who the next of kin and family and friends were, go back to them, send them condolence messages, videos of beautifully conducted last ride for these soldiers, and also messages, essentially very creatively used for psyops to weaken their will to fight and to send them the message of the futility of Putin's war. Deepfakes and chatbots have been extensively used on the Russian side. The Russians have used cryptocurrency, which is a manifestation of blockchain, to bypass crippling Western sanctions, and they've been fairly successful.
Thank you. I just have a little question. This is about ethics. Autonomous is in, it is there in all our life. AI, well, I think for AI to be in a sense to decision making, maybe sometimes away. AI has not enabled machines to yet start behaving like humans. So decision making is still some more time away, a few decades maybe. But what do you think would be the ethics involved in such action? You have maybe you have an autonomous brigade now roaming around with orders to shoot whatever. So who is there to prevent a wrong shot from happening?
So that actually what I've been talking about. We've seen Terminator, it's a movie released 50 years old. And Peter Singer, who is the foremost futurist of the day, in his book, The Future of Warfare and the War of Robots, he's addressed this concern to a great extent, as Paul Sharon